¿Qué pasa YouTube? 6fthax here. Hi for you guys today, a UU Wi-Fi battle against Bliz. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below and to answer the question of the day. Also, check out my opponent. His Twitter link and channel link are down in the description. Now, as you can see from the team, I am using a team I've uploaded with before. This team was based around 6fthax Primarina, which has been changed to Latios because his team is stupidly weak to ground. And of course, my opponent has a Hippowdon, which is actually a really big nuisance to this team. And then Komodo, depending on the set, could potentially sweep me, or I just have no switch-ins to it. So of course he ends up leading off with the Hippowdon, as I'm going to be leading off with my Crocodile. I'm going to go straight for the taunt because I do not want him to get up stealth rocks. In hindsight, I probably could have either gone straight for my rocks or gone for the knockoff. Now, even though my team is based around getting up entry hazards, he's got a Rapid Spinner in Serena and a Defogger in Hippowdon, which has me thinking one of them is not going to be carrying a hazard removing move, which means he could either have offensive Hippowdon and then Rapid Spin on Serena, or offensive Serena and Defog and Hippowdon, so I have to watch out for that as well. As he switches into the Sylveon on my knockoff, I'm going to make the safe switch into my Clef Key, considering that this Sylveon should not be able to do anything to my team. Plus, what this allows me to do is go for a layer of spikes. Now, the good thing about getting up spikes is that if he's got Defog on Hippowdon, then he most likely is going to want to defog away spikes right away. But if he doesn't have Defog on Hippowdon, that means his only way of getting rid of my spikes are to spin with Serena, which means Gengar can potentially stop Serena from rapid spinning, and there is the slight chance that he has rapid spin and he has defog, which would really suck, but I don't think he does, so I'm pretty sure he only has one of the two. As I could have stayed in here with my Clef Key to get on my second layer of spikes, because this was honestly his perfect chance to get up stealth rocks. I thought that getting up rocks instead of getting up another layer of spikes was going to be way more beneficial to me, because I myself can get up rocks as I switch directly into this Hippowdon going for rocks. And then it turns out that he has the Yawn, which is actually a pretty cool tech move if you think about it, because I mean, I guess it forces switch outs and stuff, but the fact that he has Yawn on this thing is just stupidly annoying, because not only do I not have a safe switch into Hippowdon, my only switch in is my Aerodactyl, which in this matchup doesn't have Aqua Tail, because I have Aerial Ace, and if I had Aqua Tail, that would actually be pretty great. Instead I have Aerial Ace, which may be a little bit funny to you guys if you saw my upload from yesterday. But yeah, I can't really do anything to this Hippowdon outside of my Primarina. So I make a bit of a risky switch here by switching directly into Gengar. I say this because him switching out or U-turning wouldn't have been a bad play at all, because Serena, depending on the EV spread, can live a Stone Edge and an Aerial Ace from Mega Aerodactyl. So I switched out on the off chance that he wanted to risk trying to live and go for the spin, but he switched into Hippowdon, so I am forced to switch out because I don't knock him out, and I don't want a Destiny Bond, and I don't want a Trick, because I want to keep my Scarf for the Komodo if it turns to the big Dragon Dance or Scarf potentially. So as I switch in the Crocodile, of course he goes for the Yawn, and I have a choice to either switch out or stay in and go for knockoff. And I still have use for my Crocodile, especially if he does turn out to have Defog on Hippowdon, which at this point I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But I knew by bringing in Primarina I would bait him to switch directly into Hippowdon. The good thing about that is that he's going to take spikes damage, rocks damage, and the offensive move of choice that I want to go for, which I decided to go for the Scald. Reason being is that I can knock out Hippowdon, and I knew I could potentially get a burn on whatever he switched in. Even if he brought in Sylveon, I can maybe burn that or still do a good enough amount of damage to that, but most likely he was going to switch into Hippowdon, which I do manage to get a little bit lucky, and I get the first turn Scald burn. I'm not too sure how much this actually ends up mattering in the long run of the match. All I really needed was the entry hazard switching damage and the Scald damage, so then that way Cobalion could knock him out with close combat. As I expect him to go for the Flash Cannon or Hidden Power Electric or even Defog, I switch directly into my Cobalion as it makes a good play there. Goes for the Scald, thankfully does not burn me. If he had burned me, I wouldn't have been upset. That would have been perfectly justified, and would have made this match a little bit tougher, because Cobalion, as you can see here, is going to pick up the potential KO. I most likely would have been able to outspeed him the following turn anyways, so I could have just knocked him out. Unless he was Scarf Serena, which I don't think he was. So I'm not really too concerned about that, as he ends up bringing in the Kamo here. I have a choice to either switch out and let him SD or Dragon Dance, sorry, or I can stay in and let him Dragon Dance, but at the cost of taking a huge amount of damage from my all-out pummeling. And in hindsight, I should have gone for the close combat. I don't really think I needed to go for all-out pummeling. The only benefit of all-out pummeling is that I put him in range of where if he switches out, he's gonna get knocked out by entry hazards the next time he switches in. So if I went for close combat, I probably still would have got off enough damage to where my Scarf Gengar could have outsped him. And I make a bit of a questionable play here, and I decide to sack off my Primarina. In hindsight, I probably should have sacked off Klefki. I really don't think I should have sacked off Primarina. The reason I didn't want to bring Klefki to Thunderwave this Kamo was because there's a good chance that he has the Lumberry. So my best chance to take it down was to close combat it, then sack something off, and then revenge kill it with Gengar, which is exactly what happens. Luckily, I do have Sludge Wave and not the Sludge Bomb, because if he had Bulletproof, he wouldn't have been affected by any of my offensive moves. And then at that point, I probably would have had to go for Destiny Bond. So as I am locked into Sludge Wave, he is going to get a free switch into the Empoleon, which at this point, I'm like 99.9% sure he doesn't have the defog. So I'm just going to switch directly into my Klefki, because this is really the only thing I have for Empoleon, and this is why I'm thinking I shouldn't have sacked off Primarina. I could have just sacked off Klefki, because Primarina at this point should have been able to knock out Empoleon with an Energy Ball. But I kept Klefki around, which is actually kind of bad because Hippowdon is still an issue. I guess the upside is that I'm able to get up a second layer of spikes before he knocks me out with Scald, but he goes for Earthquake for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he thought it would do more damage even though he's burned. I mean, I guess I'm especially defensive, but a second Scald there would have knocked me out. And the only benefit of this is that I get up my third layer spikes, but I really don't think that this third layer spikes is really game changing at all in this matchup, because 2 layers of spikes and Stealth Rocks are more than enough and more than what my team needs for this game. So he's gonna knock me out with the Scald there, which is really nice. At this point, Empoleon is basically useless to him, so I can just bring in my Crocodile here and basically get a free KO. If I had the Moxie, this would have been pretty great, because I probably could have been able to sweep with Crocodile at this point. Although Intimidate, I think, is still definitely a lot better of an ability, because Moxie is just so situational. Intimidate, you just get benefit from it automatically. So yeah, anyways, I'm able to knock out the Empoleon, as in comes his Sylveon, which is going to take all this entry hazard damage. Oh, look at that. It literally just lost like 40% of its HP. And then I go for Taunt, not wanting to let him go for Wish, but he predicts my switch into Gengar and goes for Psyshock. And then it turns out that I'm actually able to knock him out with the Earthquake, which was just kind of a funny sequence of turns there, because I was just sacking off Crocodile. But this is really good, because now I have an even better chance of dealing with this Hippowdon. So as he brings it in, if I can live one Earthquake, which I should be able to live, just because after the Intimidates, even though he's not intimidated now, Hippowdon still doesn't have that high of a physical attack, and it doesn't typically run attack EVs, so I'm able to live, get off the knockoff, and then go for the taunt, which is really crucial, because now all I need to do is just click Earthquake, get off a little bit more chip damage, which will put him in range of where either my Scarf Gengar or my Mega Aerodactyl will be able to knock him out. So as he finishes me off with the Earthquake, I will be able to revenge kill this Hippowdon, and because his Chandelure is his last mon, doesn't matter what item it is, Scarf Gengar outspeeds it. And this damn Hippowdon, man, was such a huge pain in my side. I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I did change Primarina to Latios just because it does make the matchup against Hippowdon a little bit easier. It also gives a switch into Nidoking and a Nidoqueen that don't have Ice Beam. Well, actually no, Ice Beam doesn't knock them out. Either way though, I think Latios fits better over the team, but I think the Pace Spin is the regular Primarina version. Either way though, I will be able to knock out the Chandelure here, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. So good game, the Bliz guys. Make sure to go check him out. Of course, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below to answer the question of the day. Simple things for you guys, but I really do appreciate them, and it does help out the channel a lot. So thank you guys for watching. Check out the 2 videos on the end screen if you've not seen them already. And with all that being said, I will see you tomorrow. So later, everybody. Thank you all for watching.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.